we do that? Okay. Save. All right, everybody. Strap in. This is the show. This is the one you came for. So, get ready to take it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Here we go. Recording and counting it down in 3, 2, 1.
Let me let the cat out of the bag right from the beginning. This presentation is a factual examination of the rap and dance music scene from a perspective.
Yellow creature gobbles dots while being pursued through maze by monsters.
The morning stream, 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 the morning stream.
You sawed-off sadistic bastard! You betrayed us! This is the morning stream.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to TMS. It's the morning stream for Thursday, April 6th, 2023. I'm Scott Johnson. That is Brian Hibbett.
That's right. The H is silent, though. You don't pronounce the H.
No.
It's just there. It's just there to let you know, hey, I'm an H.
Yeah. Way back in Brian's line of people, they had the H in there, but they took it out before they came to America to strike
That's
out
right.
a new plan.
Exactly. They left it back in Birmingham with the Peaky Blinders. And
Yep. That's where it'll stay. That's where that H lives
right.
now. Yep. It's the
That's
1H
right.
Club there in Birmingham, England. Anyway, hey everybody, welcome back to the show. It's me and Brian. We got stuff to do today. It's a Thursday, which means the week is winding down in a way. Not really.
It is.
Still plenty to do, but feels like it's winding down.
yeah, plenty to do that I wasn't planning on doing. I took my car for an oil change yesterday. I told you, I don't know if I mentioned on the show, that it's been squeaking, even though I had new brakes installed last week. Crazy neighbor installed new brakes for me. The brakes have been squeaking still. And I had to do an oil change anyway. So while I was there, I said, hey, do you mind just peeking in, looking at the brakes and just seeing if you notice anything unusual about them?
Yeah.
And the guy says, all right, your oil's all changed. And looks like one of your brake pads is cracked.
Oh, shit.
Damn it.
Wait, is that a part of what Dave replaced or did for you?
That is part of what Dave replaced. Yeah, he replaced the brake pads.
Dave, come on, man.
But no, I'm sure it was a manufacturer defect. I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm positive. I'm positive it was that. It was nothing else.
So,
no other chance.
So I think I might be, because I don't know if he's going to be available today, so I think I might just be replacing that one on my own. But I can do that. That's an easy enough
Have you
thing.
done that before? I've never done a brake before.
I have. Yeah, okay. Changing brakes, and my God, you can, going to the store and buying brake pads, $30, $40 for 2 pairs of brake pads for your front wheels.
Frick.
And about an hour and a half of work.
You know what?
Go to the shop
much.
and do it.
Yeah.
It's going to be $350 to $400.
Yeah, I'm never doing that again. I'll never do that again.
Yeah. YouTube video. I hate to say, this is where the Neo learning Kung Fu and us learning from the YouTube is kind of like where it's at. You learn how to change it or replace a brake pad on YouTube, and there are really good tutorials on how to do it.
Oh, I'll bet. Yeah. That would make my dad really proud if he knew I was doing that, because I'm notoriously bad at car stuff, but I've done oil, I've done brake fluid, I replaced an oil filter a few times.
Yeah.
What else? That might be it. I don't know what else I'm doing in there, not really a car guy.
Yeah.
But that's
Slide
cool.
says you change your own brakes, but don't do your own oil, which is like 500 times easier. He's saying to me, yeah, but it's cheap to have somebody else do my oil. It's expensive to have somebody else do my brakes.
It's just a value proposition.
It's less about, can I make more money doing freelance for an hour versus working on my oil for an hour? Yeah. You can get more with freelance.
It's just a value. It's just a value thing. You just have to.
It's a total value proposition.
Exactly. I get that. Like if they were charging $500 to change your oil, you'd do your own oil, of course.
I would do my own oil. Exactly.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's all about price and I don't know where your head's at, I guess.
Exactly, but it is a valid question. Slide 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I guess there were 1,234,566 slides before you.
There was a lot of those. Yeah, man, way more than you would think. More slides than one would expect.
Many slides.
I guess I did an air filter once. So that's one other thing. And I've changed.
Air filter. Yeah.
Yeah. Air filters are easy.
Unscrew. Lift a thing, plop in an air filter, close it.
Yeah.
Have you changed the battery?
I have changed the battery. That's true.
There you go. That's
Multiple
easy.
times. It's not hard. I even did the thing on the road with the Coke, where you pour it. The contacts aren't working good on an old corroded battery. No, I snort coke and then change my tires.
Got it done in 8 minutes.
Yeah, it
All
was
four
amazing,
wheels.
and I never needed to sleep. I kept driving. No, I went. I poured. You pour the old thing was if you pour coke on a corroded contact on a battery, that it will that'll all melt away, and
It'll
it worked.
clean the corrosion off the battery.
Yeah, it freaking worked. But then I didn't have that realization of like, well, I can't drink coke again because that's weird that it does that, and yet we're drinking. I didn't even connect the two. I just kept drinking coke like it was no problem. But
Yeah. If you ever want to, these science experiments, got an old penny that looks all rough and haggard and gross. A little bit of Taco Bell hot sauce. Only hot works. Fire, Diablo, medium. None of the other ones work. But their hot sauce will make that penny look brand new.
what's in there that does that?
I don't know, but I still put it on my freaking burrito supreme.
Me too. I like the hotter one. Oh my gosh, I didn't know that. I didn't know you could clean your pennies with Taco Bell hot sauce. That's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, is it just the vinegar in the hot sauce?
Oh, is that what it is? Just vinegar does
That's
it?
boring then.
Yeah,
All right.
but then also now I'm looking sus at vinegar. I don't trust vinegar now.
You just rub some salt and vinegar potato chips on that penny. And
That's
it'll be
right.
Good as new.
Yeah, we're dipping eggs in it for Easter. Boy, what the hell's going on with big corporate vinegar?
That's right. We're trying to think of a good one of the corporations. I guess Heinz is the big vinegar. Like I think we have Heinz vinegar in our.
Oh, are they a
Pantry?
big purveyor of vinegars?
I don't know if they're big, but I know that I'm pretty sure that's the brand we have. Yeah.
Have you ever had a thing where?
Except for the balsamic.
Oh yeah, the balls. Yeah, you can. That stuff's good for you.
Yeah.
Have you ever an apple cider vinegar is very good.
Apple
for
cider vinegar is the one you're supposed to like drink a cap full every day.
you. Yeah, I can't tell.
Keep
I
you
guess I
healthy.
haven't looked that deep, but I haven't. Is that like a medically recommended thing from professionals in the field, or is that just some lady
I
going,
don't
"Ooh,
know.
I did a
That's
shot of that a day"?
is definitely a Dr. Jerry or Dan Patrice question.
Well, Dan's coming on the 17th, so maybe we'll save that
Ooh,
for him.
let's save that one for for sure.
He can debunk it or bunk it. Okay? That's always a weird thing. Bunk means crap, or I think Seinfeld did this joke. He did. There's an episode where they talk about it. When you say debunk, okay, it means demystify or find out what's really real. That's debunking.
Yeah.
But then bunk that's a bunch of crap. That's bunk.
Right. It's not like you're saying, oh, your idea is really bunk.
That's a stupid thing. It's stupid that we do that.
It's the same as like you don't see somebody coming down the stairs after getting all dressed up to go out for a night on the town. You don't say, wow, you look very kempt.
Right. You'd look very kempt. Oh, well, that's
you are
good
so kempt.
because I was so unkempt last night. you know?
Yes, exactly.
All right, so I was going to ask you this. Do you ever, or have you ever had a thing where you'll say something not knowing about a thing that happened, and had you known, you would never have said that thing because that
Happens
thing
all the time. Yeah.
that thing is
Yeah.
so like tied to the thing that happened that you didn't know about, but it seems like you're making fun of the thing even though you never heard of
Oh
it.
God, I know exactly. Like, oh, how's that lazy ass dog of yours? Oh,
Right. This happened to
passed
me.
away last week. I'm sorry.
Yeah, see, exactly. This happened to me just before the show. So
Oh no.
check
Okay,
this
what'd
out.
you do?
It's really stupid. I made a tweet that said, in fact, I'll read it. I'll give you the exact tweet. Okay. This is on Twitter. The fully functioning, perfectly wonderful, never had a problem Twitter.
No issues whatsoever. Won't die in a fire within a year. Twitter.
No, it's all going great over there. Okay.
Yeah.
Here's what I wrote. As a general rule, I think every prank YouTuber should get beat up by their victims at least once. Now, that seems fine. Whatever, get a good punch from somebody you're pissing
sure.
off in
like,
the mall.
for Jake Paul or something.
Yeah, I
100%.
hate these
Yeah.
guys. I can't stand prank
Yes.
YouTube. I hate it. I
Yes.
think it's mean. I think it's awful, and I hate how popular it is. So anyway, there's that's just me and my little statement. And then I'm informed by, I don't know, half a dozen people. In fact, it was kind of hinty at first. They're like, well, maybe not shot in the gut, though. Or maybe not something. They kept referring to the shooting. And I went, I didn't say anything about shooting. I'm just talking about, smack the guy or something.
Yeah.
I dig down a little deeper. There's some story about a recent YouTube pranker who got shot in the gut and killed because
Oh, God.
he tried to prank somebody and the guy pulled a gun and killed him. I didn't know. I had no idea. Zero idea. This is like
Oh, no.
completely out of my purview. I had no idea. So when I said this, it's like saying, I don't know, on JFK's murder day, me going, the president sure likes to go back into the left, or whatever joke I would make. And not knowing that, he just was killed in Dallas like 5 minutes ago. I don't know. So I guess what I'm saying is Twitter sucks. I guess that's what I mean.
Exactly. I take it you didn't get a single person that said, "Oh, Scott, you might not have heard the recent news that came out about the YouTuber who got shot."
Funny enough, they
clearly I know you well enough to say that you wouldn't have put this tweet had you known. So I apologize for having to be the one to let you know. Yeah,
I kind of hate how well
is that
you
more
just
than 288 characters.
You,
no, I don't think
you just summed it up so well. Like that's the missing piece, right?
Yeah.
All the other interactions fine. It's like say stuff, reply to stuff, do stuff,
Yes.
whatever. But no one ever stops to go, maybe, just maybe, they didn't know about it.
Yeah, exactly. You know where you'll get that? You'll get that in the Frog Pants Discord.
That's
Will you
right.
Get it anywhere else?
That's right.
You might get something on YouTube from a family member. I mean, not YouTube, Facebook from a family member, but that's about it.
That's a stretch that they'll even do that.
That's
for
a
you.
stretch. Yeah.
So go to hey, this has been a long loop back commercial for our Discord. Frogpants.com/Discord. Go join today. You'd be welcome.
Why did my aunt just cancel me on Facebook?
I have an aunt that I wouldn't mind canceling me on Facebook. That's as much as I'll say about that.
Sure.
A
Sure
reminder.
she's a big fan of cancel culture too.
Oh, of course. Quick reminder to folks that the morning forum happened on Monday and that you still have the weekend to get in there before Monday. So go to frogpants.com/themorningforum and take this week's survey. And all you have to do is take the survey. You don't have to do anything special because you'll be pulled at random for the win. You'll
Monday. Actually neither take nor leave the survey. You will just provide your answers to said survey.
That's correct. And it's all about best TV/movie genres, none of which are misspelled to say Ragnarok. All right? So it's a good week. It's a good week for everybody. So go do that. We got a call about our theme. You know how I put out the word? I said, hey, musically inclined people, you want to take a crack at our theme? We'd love to play it,
Yeah.
Apparently, I got a couple of files waiting for me. I haven't checked the mail since that happened, but I will.
Know Chuck Robinson has got is either something in the works or maybe it's already arrived.
Oh, I didn't know that. I'll have to go check. That's awesome. So I'm going to play this call because it's weird and I can't figure it out. So here it is. Check it out.
Hey, this is Jared from Omaha. I have to lodge a complaint that I didn't know I had until I heard you say that you wanted to get musicians to do the theme. And I realized I haven't heard the theme for weeks and weeks and weeks. I don't know if it's because I'm a Patreon and it doesn't play the theme, but when you guys do the pre-show, it then goes straight into the show and you start talking and I never hear this theme. I don't hear the Van Skyhawk theme. I don't hear the Bow theme. I don't hear any themes and I want to hear the theme. And it's the theme. Give me the theme. That's all. Bye.
All right. This makes no sense to me because every single file I post, Patreon or not, because the Patreon includes a bunch of pre-show. That's true. But then as soon as the pre-show ends, you hear Brian and I do the top of the show coming up on. Yeah. Our titles, exactly. And then we roll into like some goofy clip like you heard today. You heard this guy.
Let me let the cat out of the bag.
That guy with his Christian rock fart, whatever it was. And then you hear this. Whoops, that's quiet. Sorry. This. Or this. Or this. You hear the theme. Every time.
Yeah.
So I thought, wait, for weeks, what's he talking about? I go back just in case, like, I effed up. And it's entirely possible I screwed up.
To see if there's an audio issue. Or
maybe I glitched it out or I started a mark or two earlier. Or who knows? It's all possible. And I'm not, I wasn't immediately, like, incensed. I was like, well, wait a minute. Maybe I screwed up. So I went back and I just checked them all.
Yeah.
They all have the theme.
Yeah.
So is he skipping
it would be more work for you to edit those out than it would be to leave them in.
Oh, it'd be 100%.
Record it live.
Yeah, it'd be 100% a pain in the ass to do that. So you guys, when you're here live, you hear the theme every day. And I don't, and that's the one I use in the final show. I don't go back and edit anything. So my guess is he's skipping pre-show and ends up right after the theme or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. So there you go, dude.
That's really weird. Okay.
Yeah, if you're listening. So what was his name? Hold on. What was his name? His name was...
Hey, this is Jared from...
Jared from Oklahoma. Ohio? Whatever it was. You just...
Odessa?
Yeah, Odessa. Go check out a full version of the file. They're all on the feed and just tell me that you're. I got so flummoxed by this, and I don't have a way to contact him. So
it's really weird.
I don't want.
Are you sure you're listening to our show?
Yeah, is it our show? You're not hearing somebody say NPR needs your help, give me a tote bag, or it's not like that.
Yeah.
You don't hear Joe Rogan talking. If you're not hearing those things, if you're hearing Brian and I, then okay, you're here.
Yeah, but we need to do one of our titles today. Someone needs to submit this. Is and now the theme and more on this episode of the morning stream.
I'm sure something's already brewing in the chat. If
There's
I
a
had to
lot
guess.
of people doing like, "Where's the theme, dude? Where's my theme?" etc. But we need to have a title. The last title we say in today's intro needs to be "And now the theme."
Yeah. And here is the theme.
That's right.
Terrible.
After
idea.
this short audio clip of somebody saying something dumb, here's the theme.
Anyway, if you'll get back to me and let me know what you mean, or if you found it or what happened there. I cannot sleep well not knowing if this guy's getting the full show. It's driving me crazy in my head. Anyway, so there's that. We also got one about being alone. Brian, we've talked a bunch about how you're a pretty good bachelor when Tina leaves town, I think.
I am. Yeah.
I think there's something about being
two hookers per week.
Yeah,
when Tina's out of town.
yeah, that's a good minimum. You don't want to go nuts.
Because there's still 5 days I probably should get chores done and play some video games.
Yeah, 2 hookers is enough for anyone of
sex
our
workers.
age. Sorry, sex workers. Sorry, you guys. We were raised to say hookers. We're trying. We're doing our best. Anyway, we're raised to say hookers. That's just what everyone said around us. It's not like our mom sat me and Brian down and said, "Now, honey,
no,
say hooker."
Exactly. No.
Yeah, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Anyway, what was my point? And we've talked about how me, Dunaway, and a few others I know of are terrible bachelors when our wives leave. We're awful at it. I have a theory that it has a little bit anyway to do. I think Brian's just an independent spirit, but I think it also has a little bit to do with being an only child. When you kind of left to yourself a lot, or you don't have a brother or sister vying for attention or any of that, I think it might be just a natural slide into that space, whereas some of us are just like, I'm used to all this people telling me what to do or whatever, and we just we want it. I don't know why we do that. Anyway, without understanding how it works entirely, I want to play this thing from Amanda who wrote in. So here you go.
Hi, my name's Amanda. I'm calling for TMS. I was just listening to one of your past shows where Brian Dunaway was on his own for a week without the spouse and kids, and you guys were talking about how Brian Ibbett is probably the best bachelor, but still you guys can't be left on your own for very long. I just wanted to pipe up that as a woman, I am horrible by myself. If my husband is gone for a week or so, I am completely worthless. I go to bed late. I don't get up on time. I eat crappy foods. I play video games all day. So it's not just the guys that struggle. It's the women as well. Thanks for all you do. Bye.
It's good to know.
Wow. No kidding. That surprises me. But because whenever I always feel like, the women in our lives are the ones who are they're put together. They know what they're doing. They're the ones who, like you said, keep us on track. They're the ones who tell us what to do, and we do it dutifully when they're around.
Yeah.
So I would just expect that, that it's across the board.
Yeah, I would have too. Or I would have, at the very least, I guess I would have thought, I don't know, they just feel this again. It's just a lot of stereotypes in here, so forgive me. But my wife is just straight up better at life, like life stuff, like making sure. Oh, do we have enough food for the week during the snowstorm? Do we know who's getting picked up and going where? When do the kids have their braces appointments? Like, I don't know any of this shit. Like I should. Yeah. I'm not saying I shouldn't. This isn't like me. I'm not saying I should be, as a man, naturally absolved of all those responsibilities. But she's so good at it that I just don't have to think about it. And when she leaves, then I'm like, oh, crap, I have to think about these things now. And I don't like it. And then I start getting in my own head about, I hope I die before she does. Because, I can't do this.
I'll be lost without her, yeah.
Yeah, right. I can't do this, but
I won't know what to do.
Yeah, but in my head, I'm like, she'll be fine. I'm not. What am I doing? She's not going to. She'll be okay if she leaves. But anyway, it's an interesting dynamic, and I appreciate the call. I think Amanda's someone who called Skim before and is involved in something law enforcement wise. Anyway, I think she's much cooler than she's letting on here. I think she's kind of awesome.
Yeah.
Anyway,
September says, "Yeah, I'm surprised you guys have that gender role idea, regardless if putting it as a compliment. It's it's not even like we're trying to compliment women, which we do, but it's like we just always assume that you guys are so much better put
I
together
feel like
than-
you are better people. I'm sorry. Like I get yelled at for this by dudes' rights people. They get mad when I say this, but I just think, like when we've talked about it before, who would you rather get a massage from, or better yet, which doctor would you like to have examine you? Your
sure.
most vulnerable state. I'm standing there. You got to check my prostate. All these things that nobody wants to do. I prefer a woman, not because a lady's gonna be nothing. That's not it. It's that I trust her more.
Turn my head and cough.
I trust her more. I just do, and I don't know what that is in me. But I've always had a lot of really strong women in my life, and I feel like, I just feel better. Like, every once in like 30 years, a woman picks up a gun and kills somebody. Men do it every 5 seconds.
Yes.
Every war that's ever been started in this world that I know of was started by some dude.
Yeah.
The women don't do it now. In a lot of cases, they were the societal. They were in their societies. They were very repressed and couldn't do anything, let alone start a war. But so I'm not. I'm acknowledging what history is. But my whole point is, I trust them more. I just straight up trust them more. I would trust a female president more. I would trust. I don't know. If the head of Disney was female, I'd be stoked. I don't know what it is. I just think they have a better sense of like right and wrong. And I know I realize I'm painting this with a broad brush, Brian. I know.
Yes. No, it's just it's just the amount of extra paint you're using is the.
I'm digging into the third can here.
It started as a little doodle, and now it's turned into the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel.
Yeah, it's just I don't know.
No, I know exactly what you mean. Listen, doctor-wise, honestly, 99% of the time, I don't care if I get my regular GP or another doctor there or one of the PAs, but if it's we need to do a prostate check. Okay, who's got the skinniest fingers?
Yeah, who's got the you're going for finger slenderness.
I mean,
and as it turns out, the ladies just naturally muscle bone density and all that, women have little skinny fingers. So I just did this. I flipped my computer off. I didn't mean to do that.
Oh, we'll get Janelle to take a look at you. Oh, great. Is she more the Ming-Na Wen type or the Ronda Rousey type? What give me the.
What a weird pull.
I know. I swear to God, I could not think of like a, another small, dainty like.
Yeah, I would have gone like Anya Taylor-Joy or something, but Brian went
Anya
right.
Taylor-Joy's a good one.
Yeah,
yes.
go right to Ming-Na Wen. Yeah.
I think of ER as basically what I think of.
Oh, that's a good
Ming-Na Wen.
point because she was on there. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
You don't want George Clooney's big hairy knuckle up your butt.
No. Maybe Anthony Edwards. He
He got a slender
smaller
finger.
than sure he didn't have big meat fists.
Yeah.
Like George Clooney.
That went places I didn't expect, but I'm glad we went there. All right, one final thing before we call Amy. This is interesting. We got an email from Mark, the CPA in Portland. So we got an actual certified public accountant.
Excellent.
Who says this? Hello, Scott, CPA here. Just listened to today's show, and I thought I'd clear up a common misconception about flat rate taxes, because I was going on about, hey, it should just be 20 or 30%, whatever it is, and we're done. Which always sounds good, right? But there's the devil's in the details. So he says,
Sure.
While the flat tax rate would certainly be bad for the billionaires, it is really those on the lower end of the scale who would suffer the most. For someone near the poverty level, the amount of disposable income you have is much smaller than someone with a high income. For example, if I'm a rich guy and I make $100K per month, a 30% flat tax would leave me with $70,000 to spend. If I'm a poor guy scraping by on $1,000 per month, that flat tax would leave me with $700. That's 30% is going to affect the poor much more. Yeah. This is why flat taxes are often
30%
described.
of the 100% of the 10% of the people making 45%.
I will at least admit last night reading this email, I kind of heard it in his voice just a little bit. But I more heard it in your impression of him than I heard it in his real thing.
And my impression of him, I think, is really my impression of Larry David's impression of him, basically. I think, yeah.
Which is, we all think is the best, right? We all like his thing.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. Even though Larry David even admits, I don't do a very good Bernie Sanders, but I think it's great.
He's got the
And I
Dana
think
Carvey rule, though. It's like the essence of that is
Yes.
perfect for you because you're similar age, your hair's all white and pulled back like that. Like, you look like Bernie Sanders anyway.
Exactly.
So, yeah,
exactly.
works really
so
well.
anything you say, even partially sounding like him, is going to work. Yeah.
But he goes on to say, this is why flat taxes are often described as regressive. They hurt those at the bottom much more. I thought I would clear that up. Mark the CPA. I mean, I'm bad at numbers anyway, but I hadn't thought of that at all. So that's really interesting. And I trust him.
sure.
Even now, if he was a lady accountant, boy, would I trust him even more.
That's right. Our lady accountant. We have a lady accountant working on our taxes right now. Yes, that's right. Smile 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, whatever his name was.
Yeah.
We could do it ourselves, but no, we can't do it ourselves.
No,
There are
there's
so
another
many-
value swap, right? You
Yes.
find your time and your brain power more valuable than
My sanity more valuable.
whatever you got to
And,
pay him. Exactly. Totally.
Yeah, no, that's super complicated with me as it is for you because we've got the podcast business. We've got the stuff I do for Lyft, which is now a separate business. We've got the freelance stuff that I do separately. We've got Tina's work. We've got all these different things, and fortunately, just about everything I buy fits in one of those four categories.
No, right? That is okay. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add on to that and make an admission from the podcast creator world. All right.
Yes.
The
sure.
one nice thing about our jobs, especially if we have a diverse lineup. So here we have a kind of variety morning show. Later, I have a video game show.
Right.
This
A
other
movie
thing.
show.
Right.
Where we talk about streaming things on all the services.
Absolutely. All those services, they are write-offs. And by write-offs, we don't mean free. We mean that, they're tax write-offs. If you don't know what that means, go read about it. Everything that I do for travel of any kind, I can convert to that because there's a chance I'll be doing work in
I do
some
meetups
fashion.
everywhere I go.
Right. All right. You just make sure you do a meetup and you're good.
Exactly.
Every lunch I go to, I can write off. And when we buy hardware, it's like, or in my case, I buy 50 Steam games this year.
Yeah.
Guess what? That whole thing.
It's
right
Frog
off.
Pants Plays. Exactly.
It's pretty great.
Free Rangers jokingly says, so Brian can claim the cup noodles he bought as a tax write-off for TMS? Yes. Because would I have bought it otherwise? No. I bought it to eat on the show.
Yep.
Of course.
100% a work thing. As weird as that sounds, it is.
I have a card that I use specifically for anything that is related to any of the freelance podcast, Lyft, whatever work that I do, and
Same.
that's the one that.
Which one do you? So I use an American Express because they give me big rewards at the end of the year. What do you do for that? Card?
I have a Southwest Airlines card that gets me points. And at the end of the year, I can trade in those points to sit at the airport while they lose my luggage and can't fly me anywhere for Christmas. It's a great trade.
Yeah.
No, but seriously, 9 times out of 10, and the years I've had it, it's been fantastic. That the points you get at with Southwest, because we had the companion pass. Not last year. I'm sorry, we had it last year. I didn't get it this year.
Right.
But if you, for your business, you're spending $100,000 a year or something, or maybe it's even less than that because you get double and triple for certain categories.
Right.
You get companion pass so that when you buy a ticket for yourself, your wife, son, partner, whatever, gets to go along free.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. If you're traveling a lot, that seems like a no-brainer.
And if anybody out there is considering signing up, hit me up. I'll give you a code, and you'll start off with like 50,000 points. You'll be halfway to a companion pass for the year.
Do you get something cool for that
codes.
too? Do you get a benefit from that?
I think I also get points. Yeah, for sure.
Sweet.
When I refer somebody.
Let's share points, everybody. Get in there. Get that done.
But no, I'd recommend doing it even without the points. That's a really good thing. I'll give you one other little quick credit card tip.
Go.
If you're going to Disneyland, even if you never use it for anything else, sign up for a Disney Visa because your first purchase is like 25% off. So your Disney trip all of a sudden just got super, super cheap.
Wow. That's a great tip.
And then never use that card again. You've got a cute little Millennium Falcon credit card that you can show everybody that you'll never use again.
That's great. I think ours is through Costco. It's American Express, but it's through Costco, so we get some huge Costco thing at the end of the year. Yeah, we love that because right around the holidays, you're like, where'd this $300 come from? Let's go spend it at Costco on toys and stuff for the kids and whatever. It's pretty great.
For sure.
If you want to be one
of
of the
about books.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, if you want to be a part of this kind of conversation, send us one of those voicemails or texts to 801-471-0462 or themorningstream@gmail.com, like our CPA friend did, and you could be on the show. All right.
While you're getting Amy called up, I'll say big thanks to Ender Panda. He was the person who wrote in and didn't leave a name yesterday talking about ghost insurance.
Oh,
so
okay, cool.
Ender Panda, he reached out to me and said, "Oh, I'm so glad you guys enjoyed my message about ghost insurance." And so I said,
"Oh, that's awesome!
Give you credit for it."
Love giving you credit for the stuff you send, you guys. And if you don't remember to do it, just tell us later. We don't care. We just love to give you credit.
Exactly.
Speaking of credit, let's do some reading.
One of the things that I enjoy also is reading.
Same with us, nondescript man. I don't remember where I got that clip from. We're going to go ahead and do a little read this with Amy Robinson, who joins us now. Hi, Amy. Welcome back.
Hello. Yeah, I think that clip sounds a little bit like Matthew McConaughey, but like not enough to where I'm sure that that's who it is.
Oh, let me try it again. Let me see if we can suss that out.
One of the things that I enjoy also is reading.
Oh, I just remember where I got it. I know where I got it. It's it just hit me. It was one of those old 80s dating profile videos. And so that's a guy telling the ladies what he likes to do. I also enjoy reading and fishing and the whatever, and he goes on and on. That's where I got it from.
Those were great.
Funny.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those were great, dude. 80s freaking VHS video dating.
Dating videos. Oh, man.
What a time.
The treasure trove.
What a time to be
also,
alive. Yeah.
Any 80s videos are fantastic.
Yeah,
I follow a bunch of accounts on TikTok where they're like, they play like all these old PSAs and stuff. Like I saw one this morning with Michael J. Fox telling kids not to play with matches.
Nice.
It was fantastic.
You'll have to share that one with me.
good.
I have a whole bunch I follow also, and the one I get a lot of show content from was this one called VCR Party.
Yeah. I follow them.
I think they have a big YouTube thing going on too they're more famous for, but they just put up little short weird VHS stuff from like the early 90s and 80s, and they're all horrible and wonderful. Like and like a lot of them are like those kinds you would buy and say, well, you bought this video because y'all want to learn how to hunt with a stick. Well, me and my brother Bubba, like that kind of stuff. I love it.
Yeah.
Could watch it all day. Anyway, Amy, welcome back.
Cool. I'm just trying to visualize the Michael J. Fox videos. Kids, don't play with matches, kids. It's really bad. But you could be like Alex P. Keaton and take NoDoz and other sleep prevention drugs like I did on Family Ties. Okay, bye, kids. The more you know.
Suddenly, it's like teenage Trump. Like your Michael J. Fox became teenage Trump.
Yeah, what the heck? What was that about?
There?
That's weird.
Hey, Doc, we gotta get back to 1985. Excuse me, Doc. I gotta get it.
Yeah. Trying to find it, but I can't find it. Oh man, YouTube sucks.
Man.
YouTube goes from
Really
let's see. Michael J. Fox says Parkinson's sucks, and then you scroll down two things. Top 10 Michael J. Fox performances. And then one more thing. Is Michael J. Fox faking his Parkinson's disease? Like, shut up, YouTube.
Criminy.
F off.
Seriously. Ugh.
Yeah,
no,
it's
this
gross.
was very, it was Michael J. Fox, but as Alex P. Keaton. He had a golf shirt and pleated khakis and,
really? Oh,
and he had the little head, that little head flick he used to do with it, where his hair just flipped the right way. And
yes, right.
Yeah, I'm a
when they have to do that stuff in character, it's even better.
It's great.
Yeah. So
Isn't
I'll
it?
find
Sheriff
it and
Andy
send it to
Taylor
you guys.
telling you to make sure.
Yeah, I love that. They have to do it in character, or else what's the point? Do it like the cartoons, like He-Man and She-Ra talking about getting touched inappropriately. Like,
Hey, Bonnie, I really love these new Chesterfield cigarettes. Yeah, Fred.
You do a good Fred. He's a good Fred.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, I haven't seen the Flintstones in a while, but that strikes me as a strong Fred. All right, Amy, let's dive in.
Yeah.
We got a clip today and all this stuff. What's going on? for our reading assignment.
All right. So as promised, I have returned to fictional world. So yeah, I was kind of in the mood for something with little suspense to it.
Ooh.
So with that, we can play the clip.
I like some suspense here and there. Let's see what you got.
She makes a tea and takes it back up to the picture window, continuing her vigil. She'll wait as long as it takes. She stares out into the October mist, and there is Todd, outside on the street at last. She hides a smile. Thanks to the clocks going back, he is deliberately no longer late. That's Todd for you. But wait, Todd's seen something. He stops dead, squints. Jen follows his gaze, and then she sees it too. A figure hurrying along the street from the other side. He is older than Todd, much older. Something is wrong. Something is about to happen. Jen is sure of this without being able to name what it is, some instinct for danger. She sets the mug on the windowsill, calls Kelly, then rushes down the stairs 2 at a time, the striped runner rough on her bare feet. She throws on shoes, then pauses for a second with her hand on the metal front doorknob. What's that feeling? She can't explain it. Is it déjà vu? She hardly ever experiences it. She blinks and the feeling is gone, as insubstantial as smoke. Jen runs towards Todd and the stranger. But before she's even realized what is happening, Kelly's shouted out, "Stop!" Todd is running and within seconds has the front of this stranger's hooded coat in his grasp. He is squaring up to him, his shoulders thrust forwards, their bodies together. The stranger reaches a hand into his pocket. Kelly is running towards them, looking panicked, his eyes going left and right, up and down the street. "Todd, no," he says. And that's when Jen sees the knife.
Oh, shit!
Oh.
There's a
Todd.
knife. Todd, what are you doing? You know what? A British lady can make Todd sound like a cool name. No offense, Todd.
Todd.
No offense to all our Todd listeners. I'm just saying.
That's Todd for you.
Yeah.
That's Todd for you.
If I say Todd, it sounds like, oh, Todd. But a British person?
Todd all over.
Yeah, it's much better. Todd, T-A-W-D, says Benjamin. Yeah.
Todd.
So what is this intriguing, mysterious novel?
Yes. So this book is called Wrong Place, Wrong Time by Gillian McAllister. And I gobbled it up in like 2.5 days. It was really, really good. You heard basically the setup there. Yeah. So woman observes something horrific, and then she wakes up the next morning and she's in the day before.
Whoa.
And then and so nothing has happened yet. Nobody knows what she's talking about. Everybody thinks she's a little bit crazy. And then each day she wakes up and it's a little bit earlier. And so it's not Groundhog Day. She's not living the same day over and over again. She's going further and further back into the past.
Oh, weird.
And and it's
I like stuff like that.
Really, it's
almost
really
like
intriguing.
Memento, except I guess Memento was just shown in that order because of the short-term memory. Never mind, it wasn't like
right.
It's not at all like
Well, it's like that.
You
in
know
that
what it
it's
actually
like,
reminded me of, Brian, was Timely Persuasion by Jacob Lacivita.
It was Lacivita,
it was very similar to that, in that the sort of the time travel aspect of it is there's not two of her or anything like that. She wakes up in her own body from the past. And Did
I know that you had read this book? Did I know that you had read Timely Persuasion?
Yes. So okay, we've talked about it on here before. I've mentioned it, okay. And also the way I got that book was that I won it from you on a Coverville contest like a really, really, really long time ago.
way back in the day. The Triforce Media or whatever we were. What was that called? That thing we were all involved in? The Len and us and Tripod Network. That's what it was.
Tripod Network.
Yeah. Remember that?
Right.
That was weird.
That was a long time ago.
Amy read some of that stuff back in the day, if I remember right. Some of those jingles. Anyway.
Yeah, I did some little bumpers for you guys and whatnot because I was really into doing that back then.
Yep, those were the days. Anyway, well, this
Which,
sounds.
by the way, I'm
yeah.
happy to do, but of course, Fletcher. You got Fletcher.
Well, Fletcher's a hardcore. He'll fight you. Is what he'll do. He'll fight. And,
Plus, Fletcher's a dude, and we all know Scott would prefer ladies.
I
to
prefer
read his
ladies to dudes,
Oh.
as I've mentioned.
Yeah, so you guys were cracking me up, and like before you called me, I'm like sitting here, like, because usually I'll have like one or two things that I want to call back to, and finally I just threw the pencil across the room. I was like, forget it, like there's too many things to call back to, because you guys are just cracking me up.
Sure.
But yes, I will say that when Chuck goes out of town, I am the one who is a complete
really
mess. Yeah, I mean,
wow.
now I shower and I I do the things, and I'm usually
went up on me.
Yeah,
I'm usually spending the time like doing some kind of a crafty project or something like that.
Mhm.
But yeah, like I eat like ridiculous mess. Like I, DoorDash it, or I have this one like egg sandwich that I like to make. It's just like, it's just like a little fried egg sandwich. It's very simple, but
croque madame or something.
Sure.
Croque monsieur.
yeah, it's like no, it's not even that complicated. It's literally
gotcha.
like scramble up an egg, fry
Put it
it,
between
and
two
then
pieces
put
of
it
toast.
between two pieces of bread, like with a little bit of mayo.
I
Like,
relate to
that's
this
the
too
whole
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's it. So like that's how I eat when Chuck is not here. Especially like if the kids are here, it's a little different. Like I will actually feel like, okay, we need some kind of meal, but it'll be DoorDashed.
Mm-hmm.
Most likely it'll be DoorDashed.
Wow.
So it's me. I am the one who
You're the one that
doesn't
knocks.
keep it together in the household.
It's I guess there's probably every couple's going to have a version of this, but I wonder if there are anywhere that people just go, nope, we're equal in every way. There's absolutely zero difference. Doesn't matter. I
sure
paid the
there
bills
is, yeah.
today. She paid them tomorrow. We're all the same. They probably exist, right? Those people.
I think so. I mean, I do all the bill. Well, I do 90% of the bills here. She just manages, I would say, 100% of the house.
Yeah,
so there is an evenness there, but yeah.
Thankfully, Kim handles all the get everything ready for the accountant every year, because I would lose my mind.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, I will say that's my job. I have to gather up all the stuff, but I'm proud to say that I did it, and I did it.
Well done.
It's now done, and it's sent off to the accountant in time to not have to file an extension.
Guess who I trust more than myself to do the taxes? My wife.
Oh,
yeah.
Without a doubt.
And she's a lady. Is all I'm saying.
Without a doubt. I would like to get a book on taxes, but by the way, speaking of books, what's the name of this shitoutofluckbook.com?
The name of this shitoutofluck.com is Wrong Place, Wrong Time by Jillian McAllister.
It sounds great. I'm in the mood. I'm in the mood for some
Speaking of segues.
I'm in the mood for some hardcore mystery. You've brought what I'm in the mood for.
Plus, it's sci-fi. Like there's a little bit of a sci-fi feel to it.
Yeah, little
It's got a little bit of a sprinkling of time travel and all that kind of stuff. And it's very, it's very like it reads like a British crime drama. You know what I mean? Like
cool.
it like if you're watching one of those TV shows where it's like multiple episodes to solve the same crime, it reads like that.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting, except she's not a cop. She's just a person who witnessed something and then suddenly is going backwards in time.
Sure.
Totally, because if she was a cop, she'd have to tell us that she's a cop.
Yeah, that's the rule. Isn't that the rule?
Yeah. That's
you have to tell me
she
you're
was
a cop.
raised
You have
to
to
say
tell us you're a
hooker.
cop.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If I, in a weird way, Breaking Bad was educational in that one regard.
It was totally. Yes.
I kind of thought you did have to say it, but you don't. You don't
No.
have to say that you're a cop. At least not in that state, not New Mexico. So I don't know how that works here.
It's really funny that people thought that you have to say.
I really
totally
did.
Oh, totally believed
Yeah, I
it.
totally
Yeah.
believed it when people
Yeah?
say you have to tell me you're a
Like-
cop because there was like something where if you were undercover and you were going to arrest or you had to, you were going to make a drug deal, you had this. If you're a cop, you're required by law to say you're a cop. That is such horseshit. But I just
thinking
assumed
about
it
it
was
now,
true.
it feels so dumb that we would have thought that. I mean, really,
If that ever worked, there would be no undercover cops.
Right,
It was literally
exactly.
every person a drug dealer meets, they would go, "Are you a cop?"
No,
Are
you're,
you a cop?
you're absolutely
You have to
right.
tell me.
Everybody
Yeah.
would just hand out pins that you would just wear on your shirt that say, "Are you a cop?" So that don't even have to ask the question. It's like, "Oh, I'm a cop. Sorry."
It was really nice for about a day, feeling I was as stupid as Badger.
Right.
Like for that hot minute, Badger and I, we were right here together, parallel lives. I was as
But
dumb
my
as him.
favorite thing about that storyline was like when they've got Bob Odenkirk like at gunpoint, and he's like, "Wait, why are you gonna kill me? Why don't you just kill Badger?"
Yeah.
And they kind of look at each other and go, "Crap, we didn't think of that."
Yeah.
Like,
Also,
no,
which
we're not gonna kill Badger.
Yeah, you can't kill Badger. I love Badger. You can't kill Badger.
Badger's great. Yeah.
Keep Badger and Skinny Pete should live forever. Those two.
I say, we're done with Better Call Saul. Let's move on and have Better Call Badger.
Yeah,
This
Better
should
Call
be the next
Badger.
spin-off show.
Yeah, or don't call Badger and make it a 3-camera laugh track sitcom or something. That'd be funny.
Yeah, if you call Badger, you're effed.
Yeah, you're screwed.
If you get to Badger and you're, I was about to say your Rolodex. Hi.
Yeah. Hey. Whoa.
Like-
Speaking of the VHS days, my gosh, that's
Yeah.
great. Even then, I had a sharp wizard or something to do all that for me. But anyway, it's always good to have you on. This book sounds like a good one. It'll be up on quicktms.li as well. And always good to hear from you. We'll have at least one more of these. No, 2 more of these before we see you, right? I think.
Yes.
We should. Yeah.
2 more
Yes.
Thursdays.
Oh, I'm so excited. I'm working
Nervous
on
breakdown
stuff.
on the 20th, and I'll need that day off, a mental health day to get
Yeah,
stuff
we
together.
may actually end up needing
We'll
one
see.
of those
We'll see.
days. We'll see how things go. But this is the week where all the swag rolls into the house, and I'm just starting to feel that itch of like, oh, gotta box it all up and do all the stuff. And then some of it we can't box up till we get to Vegas. So we're trying to organize like where will this all fit in the trunk, and don't really have a trailer, so we're just gonna
I've
figure
got
it
a
out.
big old arcade cabinet printing right now on the old 3D printer. So
Nice. Someone's gonna win that shit. All right. Will it be
somebody? So cool.
Will it be
So much
you?
fun.
And I'm pointing to everybody. The collective
To
you. Will it
everybody.
be
Yeah,
you?
yeah.
All right.
It won't be me because I'm keeping score.
That's right.
I am so glad you're going to be doing that. Yeah, you and I need to coordinate on the best tool for you to use to manage the brackets.
The brackets. Yeah, because we're gonna have multiple brackets, right?
Nope, one bracket.
Oh,
I'm
one
capping
bracket.
it. Yeah, 64 players. That we capping it. Come on now. I'm not doing this whole
No double bracket. Now
no
the two,
double
yeah.
bracket, man. Because last year somebody, and it wasn't the winner, but somebody was able to skate by the first 4 rounds because they were in the other bracket. All they had to do was win their round, and then they automatically were added to the 4th round of the of the regular one. So it's like, yeah, in hindsight, especially since we've got some $50 Steam cards on the line, we gotta make this a little bit more.
Yeah. So
more
that
person
anonymous
just gotta
person,
buy.
man, that person
Yes,
bought
exactly.
some. That's a lot of cards. It's
I
awesome.
know it's by my count, it's $200 worth of gift cards.
Yeah,
but,
and since Brian and
I'm
I
no
can play this year,
mathematician.
Brian and I are going to play real hard. Okay, everybody.
We're at 51 entry, actually 53 because you and me, Scott. So
Yeah.
53 entrants into the VivaTMSVegas.com form for playing in the competition.
Yep. And if Wabbit Magic's brother-in-law shows up, all bets are off. That's all I'm saying.
Wait, I
there's
thought
a
it was
bounty
Monkey
on his
Bananas.
Or Monkey
It was
Bananas.
Monkey
sorry.
Bananas. Yeah, it's Monkey Bananas' brother.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That guy was was he brother-in-law or brother? I guess brother. He was
Don't play a fighting game with that guy.
No.
Nope.
Like-
But I will put a bounty on his head. I'll have something to give away. Yes,
Oh.
I do have something that I will give away that I can't say. I won't be able to say what it is until the live TMS.
Right.
But
Just
there will be a bounty on Monkey Bananas' brother.
so what everyone needs to do is bring their own. Just Brian's not going to tell you what it is, but bring a U-Haul truck because we're just letting you know
Yes,
you need to bring something big. And
Several empty rolls of filament.
Yep.
Yeah, line up.
Yep. Everybody bring big space to store it in. All right. As always, it's a pleasure. Amy, have a great day. She's read Fraggle 3 everywhere, including the aforementioned TikTok, so go follow her on there. She's always doing fine videos. Amy, have a great week. We'll see you next time.
Okay, bye.
Bye now.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
That's a cute way of saying that.
I just did a really cool 3D print, a set of 3D prints for Amy for her pottery stuff, little stamps
Oh.
that she can stamp on the bottom before they get fired.
Oh, do you have to put a little rubber part on there or something? Or is it just...
No, not rubber stamps like you ink and then stamp. It's like little raised area that you stamp into the clay before you fire the pot, so that it basically has a little indentation of her logo and all
like
that
a little
stuff.
relief or whatever, or whatever you call that. Yeah,
You could all use a little relief
yeah,
now and then.
like a branding. It's almost like branding, except
It's exactly
not
like
hot.
branding, yeah, except without fire and heat.
and cow butts. There's no cow
And cow butts, correct? Yes, those as well. Yes.
No cow butts involved. All right. Speaking of cow butts, let's do one news story.
Okay.
I don't know why cow butts have anything to do with that, but hey, you heard me. It is time for the news. Quick news, and brought to you by
Zashima in our Discord does some amazing artwork. Don't believe us? Check out tiny.cc/Zashima, spelled Xeshema.
It's a cool name and some very cool artwork. Go check it out.
Yeah, Zashima.
Cool person in our Discord. Let's do this quick story about a laundromat that explodes. It almost killed a dude after a very simple washing mistake. All right, so we're going to learn a little something today, and we're going to share this video, which is pretty wild. All right, let me pull it up there so the chat can see it. Here we go. A simple laundry mistake almost cost one man his life after he narrowly escaped a fiery explosion at a laundromat in Spain. The old saying about Spain. I don't know what it is. Says here, terrifying footage of the moment. A tumble dryer blew the shop to pieces. With Aussies now being warned not to make the same error. This is actually in Australia,
Gotcha,
is where
Australian
they did this.
news article.
Yeah, even though it was Spain.
Yeah, we can all learn from Spain, says the world.
We really can. I'm trying to see where'd the video go. Oh, did they remove the video?
Oh no!
Oh, poop. Maybe it's linked off. Let's see.
There's photos. Jeez.
It is gnarly.
By the way, the photos look like the guy is there 1 second and he's vaporized. The
Yeah,
second.
I know, right? Right.
like he's the one that exploded.
And he barely got out of there before. Oh, I don't have the video. Dang it! Someone in the chat may find it. It was linked on this article before, and they removed it. I don't know why. Well, anyway, he walks out of there, and boom, the whole thing exploded. So here's what happened. Somebody left a lighter in their pocket that got washed and then put in the dryer, and the lighter exploded. Which seems crazy to me because there's butane in there.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have expected it to be this big. But anyway, it says when damaged in the right conditions, this can cause a huge fire and or explosion. The message here is to always check your pockets, not only for the tissues that turn your clothes into a white mess, but also I used to call my Aunt Connie a white mess. Anyway, moving on. More importantly, for the modern conveniences such as batteries and lighters and phones and stuff like that. So, anyway.
Video in our Discord.
Oh, here we go. Okay, here we go. Put this up so chat can see it. Check this out, chat room. Although you have the link, you'll see it here. See this guy just walking out.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Bluey.
And he's just barely out of here. And then
he was just out.
Like look at that. Oh my gosh. And the thing vomits the clothes out first.
Yeah. Like at first, like enough pressure from the building up, I guess, just pressure before the oxygen outside erupts into the fire,
Yeah,
maybe?
something like that. All I know is that makes
Your clothes are done.
Yeah. That's a hell of a ringer for letting you know your clothes are done. Wow.
Exactly. Jeez.
Anyway, be
also,
careful.
The dude needs to get better, like laundry baskets, not carry around in Shopko bags or whatever those are.
Yeah, that's a weird way to keep your laundry, isn't it?
Because you're going to have to do some ironing when you get home with all that stuff.
I also felt like it slowed him down. It made him closer to his potential.
No
explosion
kidding, yeah. Can you imagine if he would have dropped one of those bags or dropped a piece of clothing out of one of those bags, bent down to pick it up, kablooey!
I would have laughed, or would have laughed. I would have liked to have seen video footage of him on the outside, what his reaction was. Because he couldn't have been, 5-10 steps away from that by the time it blew up?
I'm guessing it was some form of Dios mío!
Because he's in Spain.
Because he's in Spain,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. I like that a lot. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, my sister Wendy will join us. And we were supposed to remind her of something, but nobody can remember what it is. Do you remember?
Yeah, no, I can't.
Claire said it in the chat, but she can't remember why. She just remembers that we needed to. I just don't freaking remember. So we'll find out when she gets here. Maybe she'll remember by us reminding her. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's all coming up in a minute, but we can't do any of that without music. So, Brian, please present some, if you don't mind.
Yeah, this is a band that is blowing up right now. Completely unintended pun there.
Nice.
You can hear them on Spotify's All New Rock, Alternative Noise, Apple Music's Breaking Hard Rock, Amazon Music's Modern Shoegaze, Fresh Rock, Deezer's ASAP Rock, and Pandora's New Punk Now. Like, these guys are going everywhere. They have a brand new EP coming out June 8th. This is the first single from it. The band is called Super Bloom, and the song is Head First.
I just think if you don't read the newspaper and the only TV you watch is the MTV, you shouldn't be allowed to vote.
The thing is, I don't know what I'm doing.
The Morning Stream. I was born without a conscience.
And we're back. Who was that again?
Sure, that was the band Super Bloom from Brooklyn, New York. Got another nice slice of the 90s kind of sound. You heard some earlier this week. This is another band with that kind of feel. Here is Head First, or that was Head First by, I'm announcing it again. Let's play it again, Scott. That is Head First by Super Bloom from their upcoming EP, Life's a Blur.
When you do Coverville for that many years, that statement is built into you now.
It really is, yes. Here's Billy Joel with...
Yep. You got the Casey Kasem gets into your blood and you can't get it out. I feel you. We're calling Wendy. We are experiencing rings of ringage. We don't know if we'll get rings of speakage, but we suspect we will.
We were going to remind her that she wasn't going to answer her phone.
That's what it was.
That's what we forgot to remind her.
She'll never pick it up. Also, maybe if this bug is pervasive throughout the world, maybe she's not getting the ringtone either.
Well, possibly.
Entirely possible. So hopefully she's looking at her phone or whatever device she'll be answering this on. And I'm ringing. We're ringing. We're still ringing. Oh, weird. All right, let's see. I'll tell you what I'll do. I know what I'll do. I'll pause the show and save it. And then I'll text her and say,
"Hey, you there? Everything okay?"
Seeing it okay? We'll see what she says. We'll give her a moment to collect her thoughts and her feelings.
Oh, yeah. Those are the best.
Those are pretty good feelings. All right, we're ringing. We got the rings of ringage again. She's been notified via text. One would assume those will notify her.
Feels like you've done everything you possibly could.
Don't know what else to do. I mean, I could send a FedEx letter saying, are you there? But that would take a day.
Telegram?
Yeah, telegram maybe. Boop, 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 boop. Dear Wendy. Boop, 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 boop. Did you ever know that? Did you ever learn it? Morse code?
No, I know 2 letters and that's it.
I don't think I know any. I'm trying to think.
You do.
Do I? What do I know?
If I were to go doot 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 doot.
It sounds sing-songy, but
or did I just do OSO?
SOS. SOS.
Yeah, SOS, yeah.
Okay.
3 dots, that's right. 3 dots, 3 dashes, 3 dots.
I guess I do know that from things, but it's not the tip of my...
Bobby Franks, yes, I did just do OSO. All right, good.
OSO?
Well,
sweet. Bobby keeping track of... Okay, smart guy, Bobby. Give us some dots in the chat and tell us something you want to tell us. And I want to see if it's really Morse code. Because that would be cool. While we wait for Wendy to answer.
Oh, no, that's not TMS. ... dash looks like
dash
TMS.
Yeah, what is TMS? I want to know that, and then we can make a little thing. We can do like a little jingle thing that mimics it.
There's somebody who's out there going, well, it looked like that ship was sinking, but they're typing OSO, so I guess everything must be fine.
Everything's fine.
Our ship's okay.
They must not be in any trouble because they didn't do right. SOS. That's funny. It's a good thing humans can intuit intent more than... because a robot would see that and go, well, they didn't say SOS, so I'm not saving them. Right? Yeah. They're that exact. Right, or at least that's how it used to be. I don't know, AI and predictive language and all that stuff that's happening now. Maybe that's better at sussing that business out. Somebody today... Okay, speaking of a whole different thing, and I'm going to record this because it's interesting.
Okay.
Today
Have
I'm
you
listening.
not been recording this whole time?
No, I paused for while we were waiting for Wendy, but.
Oh, Claire, that's horrible.
What'd she do?
Watch your language, Claire.
What'd she say?
Jeez.
Did she say something dirty? Oh, geez, I'll bet she did in that big long one.
She did, and it kind of messed her up because the smiley face emoji came up for the K, for the letter K.
Whoops. I didn't mean to pin that.
Did you just pin Claire's?
Yeah, I didn't mean to do that. Or someone said, I don't know what I did. How do I unpin?
Yeah.
Unpin. After.
Oh, there's a translator. I was using my handy dandy code sheet because everybody should have one of these handy at all times.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
With Morse code, binary, hex, braille, semaphore, pigpen, everything.
Yeah, that's good.
NATO alphabet.
I don't remember what I was going to say. What the hell was I going to say? I was going to bring up a thing that I saw today. Oh, I know what it was. So while we wait for Wendy, there was a guy who put up a post about how he has been in and out of therapy for decades. 20 years of therapy. Different therapists doing different work, different levels of success, but never really quite feeling it. All right? He claims he sat down with ChatGPT, and within one night, he had gotten more therapy out of ChatGPT than he did any actual therapist. And literally, that's what he means. He's sitting there asking and sussing out stuff from ChatGPT for therapy.
Okay.
And he says the differences are the ChatGPT doesn't get sick of you the way that therapists can.
Well, at least not outwardly.
Not outwardly.
It might be. It still might be, but you don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. But as far as we can tell, it doesn't seem to care about that stuff. It doesn't have any of the biases that humans have, regardless of their level of training. Like he was explaining this whole thing about how he could get straight up amazing therapy via ChatGPT, and that the future of therapeutic help will happen through the help of AI. What do you think of that, Brian? You think that'll be true? What does your gut tell you on this? Your gut.
My gut tells me actually it's kind of believable, really. I mean, if it's looking, the thing is, it can only tell what you're saying and can't do any sort of figuring out what you're not saying, which I think is probably 90 or 80% of therapy.
Right.
So
right.
You can say, well, I have all these weird feelings about my father or my mother, whatever. And a therapist can look at you while you say that and kind of suss out, oh, wow, I think there's something underlying there. When he said father, he said it in a different way. Let's dig deeper into that.
Body
Whereas
language.
AI would say, you are connected to your parents by
beep, beep.
genetics, and that is a thing that can sometimes cause problems.
Humans are dead. Yeah, like that. Speaking of which,
Hey,
Wendy's here.
see,
Hi,
that's
Wendy.
perfect
Sorry.
lead into Wendy, right?
Hey, can you tell me, did the thing ring for you, or was it
No,
silent?
it didn't.
Something's
And
weird.
so I was going to text you and be like, well, am I just going to sit here? And then I saw yours. I'm like, oh, no. So I just joined.
I think there's a bug with Discord's ringing. I don't know what's going on. Brian doesn't get a ring now either, so I don't know what's going on.
Discord.
Yeah, they'll fix. I'm sure they're on it. If Wendy's here, we gotta play this.
Wendy.
I mean, random.
Not a chance.
It's good to have you back. It's my sister Wendy. She's a real therapist, not some robot, and she's here to talk to us about some cool
I
stuff.
want to hear you guys talk about how AI is going to take over my job.
Well, here's what happened.
That's what we're saying is your job is probably the most safe job out there. Because,
I think you're secure. This guy. So
AI
this
won't
guy
get
was
nuanced.
This guy claimed that using ChatGPT was better than 20 years of therapy. He'd gotten more out of the responses that he was getting there than he ever got from real therapists, which is kind of a bold statement. And I think Brian's right about body language and like nonverbal,
and tone,
all that.
and,
All that stuff matters. And the AI, at least as currently constituted, isn't going to see those things. But there's a future where cameras and predictive models and stuff can kind of see the way a person moves or acts or says, and maybe
I detected an eye twitch when you mentioned your spouse.
I love that they're just going to be these crappy robots.
This actually leads so well into what I want to talk about today, actually. But I'm going to argue really quick that guy, whoever this person is, probably true. Probably true for him.
True for him, you say? True for him.
Yeah.
I see. That's a caveat.
Because I can imagine 20 years of talking to people and it not quite getting what you need, and then this thing hits the spot. I mean, I don't find that threatening one bit. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Someone take a little of the load off. But also, everyone's going to be really different, right? Like I have people who I see everybody online since COVID, and I have not gone back to an office just because I don't have one currently. And there are people who are like, I need to be in the same room with you. And I'm like, yeah, all right. You're going to go to see someone else because that's not what I'm doing right now. I think there will always be a need for a variety of things. And so, BetterHelp, you guys are familiar with that. You hear it on ads for it all the time.
Yeah, they've done ads with us before in the past.
Yeah. So they provide a service that is just never going to work for your Aunt Betty, but it's going to work for like maybe somebody who only wants text, and that is the way to start or whatever, right? Like, and they do a variety of things, but I think you'll find maybe once we're all AI living, it'll change more because more people will be, comfortable or something. But yeah, I could see a future where it gets good enough. But there is something about human interaction, unless they put like a skin on it. I don't know. There's a way to make this creepy and fun, but I don't know. Yeah. It's interesting.
Well,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to ask about this thing that maybe you were going to ask the same thing. There was something we were supposed to remind you of today. Last week you said, don't let me forget next week to say this. And the chat remembers to do that. We remember to do it, but we don't remember what we're reminding you of.
It was some topic that required a lot more discussion than we had time for last week, if I remember correctly.
Right. Well, and I also completely lost it. I mean, I wonder if there's a recording somewhere. But anyway, no one look it up. Because that's not what I'm prepared to talk about today.
Oh, good. You're going to talk about something else anyway. Okay, fair enough.
It's pretty complicated. I mean, I think I'll get back to it. I think I have a memory of it, and I definitely need more time to prep if that's what we're going to talk about. But actually, it kind of leads to a little bit what you guys were discussing. So this is funny. I run it by Adam. I'm like, okay, I can't remember what I was supposed to talk about. What should I talk about? And he just made up a bunch of dumb ones. And then he said, what if you just steal like Dear Prudence questions and answer those? And I was like, I'm not going to do that. But then I looked up a couple Dear Prudence questions. Oh my gosh, I'm not going to do that. That is not a fun job, Prudence. No. Anyway,
not a good
they're
time.
Also, eye catchy. But anyway, so what I was thinking though of just a couple things that have occurred in the last few weeks with some clients that feel like they're, ageless in that we struggle with this because it's human psychological principles, but just, how they play out in your life. So we're going to talk about a couple, some thinking disorders and some biases that we have as humans. So we've talked about a few of these on the show before. We went through the list of thinking errors, justification and rationalization, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think we've also talked about like the Dunning-Kruger effect, stuff like that, where psychologists and sociologists over time have studied these concepts and we have names for them and we sort of can watch them play out. And Brian, like you were saying, maybe the computer therapist simulator might miss some things. I think what it would be really good at is hearing someone talking and seeing the actual bias in real time. I don't know how they would then translate that into empathetically helping them move past it or something. But, keeping in the storage unit every name of every bias we understand and have studied would be
Please
handy.
Lift up my arm and put it on your shoulder. There.
There.
Yeah, totally.
There.
Totally. Okay, so I'm gonna start. You two are my clients when I do this kind of thing. So
sure,
we're getting used to it.
Yep, I got my client pants on.
Yep.
The consent forms. Okay.
All right.
Okay, so we're gonna start with. Well, first of all, I just got a funny story out, and it'll bug me if I don't just tell it. So last night I had a cool opportunity to go to a Seder. Have you guys ever been to one?
I don't know what a Seder is for some reason. Well, I know it's like a half horse, half man or something. What is that?
No. Oh my god.
What is a Seder? I can't think what it is. A Seder?
It's a Jewish
sorry.
Like a meal.
The Passover.
Passover, yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Because that started yesterday, Passover.
It was yesterday. So yeah, I went to a dinner. I have a friend who's Jewish. Sorry, I'm just laughing because the satyr does now sound like
it does, right? What am I thinking
centaur
of?
person.
Centaur.
Sorry. Okay.
SAT, well, I was thinking like the SATYR satyr.
Oh yeah. Okay, that's right. So
That's
spelled
probably why I went down a
SATER.
fantasy hole.
Yeah, that's a horse's legs, but
Yes, there we go.
still
Okay.
full man body.
Anyway, it was such a cool experience, and anyway, it was a lot of fun. Very fun, diverse group, people from all sorts and places, and a couple from Liberia who were just like losing their minds because they had never even met a Jewish person before, so it was just really cool. And then there was this young kid from he's Hmong, and so his family were refugees. He was born here, and we just had a great chat. And he did this thing that, like, I don't know if you've had this experience. Maybe you guys have, but he did this thing where it broke my self-identity, right?
Okay.
Like you're just chatting, la di da, and he says to me, "So there are these things. They're called memes. Do you know what they are?"
Mm.
And I was like, "What the freak? How old do you think I am?" You know?
Yeah.
And then for a second, I just stared at him, and then he just started to try to describe a meme to me.
Yeah. Wow.
And I was like, "Okay, all right, take a breath. He is 22." But what it is,
that you're like just learning about these computer things too.
Yeah.
I was
Fresh
like,
off the
"Have you
boat.
heard of dial-up?" Anyway, so he was very cute, and you could tell he was like, I said, "Yeah, no, I know what they are," and you could tell he was just sort of like, "Okay, well, let me still kind of explain it to you." And I was like, "All right." And it's this moment where you're like, "You think I'm 300? Like you think I'm so old?"
Yeah.
As I look around the room, and there were some very elderly folks there too, a couple people in their 80s and 90s, and I was like, "Oh, like I think of them as old. Okay, this is good for me.
Yeah.
This is good for me, right?"
Yeah.
So you have this moment where your sense of identity as you're walking around is a particular thing, and you interact with the world, and suddenly it's interacting with you differently, right? And it kind of wakes you up to, oh, there's a mismatch. So I want to talk about that just a little bit, because I mean that's like a cute, devastating example, but there are others that I'm going to have you guys kind of find for me. So I'm going to give you a couple words. We're going to define a couple of things that happen very frequently in human beings.
Sure.
And then we'll see what comes to your minds.
All
Okay.
right.
So we've talked about cognitive dissonance before, but let's just redefine it. Could either of you give me a definition? This is school now.
Of cognitive dissonance.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I don't want to do politics though. There's so much of it in there though.
There is.
So
It's
much
all
of
over the
it.
place. But so just give an example, like what, well, I'll give you a hint. It's the emotion you feel when something happens. So what's
Oh,
happening?
Okay. So I'm going to, let's see. Let's do, oh gosh. It's so
Yeah, I'm
hard
not
to-
going to be any help on this because I
Am I creating cognitive dissonance for you right
you
now?
are creating with me. I've heard the term, and I kind of always assumed I knew what it meant. But now that
It's just
put
hard
me
to
on
come
the
up with an
spot to
example.
describe it.
Yeah, it's just hard to do an example.
Yeah, because
Okay.
it's disassociating something with something else, and cognitive
Yes.
means knowledge,
Yep.
mind.
Right.
But
Your
that's-
mind.
Yeah.
Um,
But
And
that's-
dissonance in music, right? Okay, I'm going to stop making you suffer. Okay, cognitive dissonance is essentially the emotions you feel when you notice that you're of two minds on an issue.
Okay.
That's like a very simple way to think about it. You do not feel good. Something feels wrong and off if you're of two minds and you are aware of it. Okay.
Right, because one side of the thinking is, I was sure of this. And then the other side of the same exact moment, you're like, I am very unsure of this. That's an uncomfortable, precarious
Yes.
space, right?
So, yeah. So when you say one thing and you do another, that's
Right.
another example. Yeah, I'll be there and I'll pick up your kid and I'll help you with this. And then you don't do any of that.
Oh, I got one. I got one.
Okay.
When I sit down and I eat, I don't know, big nasty hamburger from Burger King, I both know that this is bad for me and that I'm enjoying it. Do you know what I mean? I don't like that. I feel uncomfortable in that position because to me it's like, ooh, this is good, but I know it's not good.
Right.
So that's a form of that, right?
Yes. So it's
Okay.
kind of the resulting feeling that cognitive dissonance gives you, it's the discord between the two parts of you that are occurring, and usually they create they're hypocritical in some way, or they're just so polar or unpredictably. So, for example, like a human needs to feel that they can predict their own behavior, right? Mm-hmm. And so what you have to do when you feel that is you have to somehow rewrite your own history or do something so that you can be dependable to yourself, right?
Right.
So if you think of like, what is something you like really hold dear that is like, I am this kind of person, and then an experience comes up and there's some evidence to the contrary, right? That is the feeling. So I always help those that are in need, but here's a panhandler in front of me and I am not helping them. There is a disconnect. There's the dissonance. It occurs, right? But I have to somehow get to consistency. So think of my options.
Good example.
What can I do to get consistent?
Or let's use your example. You're somebody who's always charitable and helpful. When you see someone in need, you help them.
You think you are. That's the more
are.
important. You identify as such, right?
Okay.
That's
I mean,
important.
you either have to change who you think you are and adjust it slightly and say, well, I want people to get the help that they need, but I don't want to just give them money that might not go to serve them long term.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So you could change your, who you think you are, or you can say, nope, if I'm going to say I'm this type of person, then I need to just give this person $5 when I come across them.
I got one, and this throws Kim under the bus a little, so apologies to her. She'll never hear this, but she I don't know if she'd care if I'd say this or not, but we right after 9/11, we had a really interesting experience. Kim is like doesn't care who you are, where you come from, what your color is, gender. She doesn't care. She just wants to. She's usually just there to help. Like, can I help? That's first thing out of Kim's mouth. And after 9/11, we were in the car one day, and a car pulled up next to us that was 4 people in the car, and they were all Middle Eastern descent of some sort or another. And this is, again, right after 9/11. And she looked at the car, and she looked at me, and she goes, I hate this. I said, what do you hate? She says, I hate how uncomfortable I am looking at those guys and knowing that it's just because of this thing that happened like 2 weeks ago or whatever.
Yeah.
She goes, I hate that is even a thing, because I don't know them at all. I don't know a thing about them. And now I've been either coaxed into associating the two by the media or by the coverage or whatever.
Right.
And some people turn that straight into violent, horrible things. But in her case, it was just this feeling of like, I know that they're fine, and I know that this is a weird feeling I shouldn't have, but here I am having it. Like, she was just admitting to me, it's like, I feel that way, and I hate feeling this way.
So tie that to what Brian said. So Brian's like, there's 2 options. One is to change the way you perceive yourself. Actually, what you used was rationalization. Well, I help people in this particular way.
Yeah.
And that's going to make that feeling die down, right? Or you go help the person keep it consistent. And then there's a third option, which Scott is kind of alluding to. I mean, Kim, in her case, she just said it out loud and talked about it with you, which is probably a good, safe version. Yeah. And then another version would be to now blame the person, right? So to then see the person panhandling as the enemy, like create them as the bad guy so that you don't have to feel that way.
Right. You start saying things like, oh, it's the drugs they take, or it's they're homeless for a reason.
Everyone else's fault. Right. So you are suddenly
on drugs. Yeah.
You're still the good guy, and it's this person who, threw off kilter. And so you fixed it by doing some of this self-deception, switching how you think about things, justification, sometimes doubling down, telling a made up story so that you can feel better. Right.
Right.
So this is so universal. We all do it because this state of cognitive dissonance is really uncomfortable, and it gives us a lot of things. One, it lets us go on with our day and feel productive and still like ourselves, right? And so there's a purpose to it, but there's a high price to it as well. So the other bias, or the bias I want to kind of focus on. So first I wanted to establish the cognitive dissonance thing, but the bias that shows up and is kind of the focus here a little bit, and I'm going to tell you some cool studies, is the consistency bias. So the false thing we believe or think is true is this. You know how your opinions have changed over time. And I'm going to ask you guys a question about that in a second. But the truth is, unless we keep tabs or like a journal that says, this is what I believe, and then we compare it 10 years later or whatever, the way we feel now is not the way we've always felt, but we assume that, which is interesting, right? So I'm going to have you guys do this. I want you to both imagine yourself in high school.
Okay, done.
I need paint splattered sweatpants on you, Scott.
Yeah.
Brian.
Yeah.
I don't know what you did, Brian, but full embarrassment.
Rocking a
Whatever.
members only jacket, and I think I was the last member.
Exactly.
Just said on Friends, yeah.
Okay, so picture yourself in high school, and think about the kind of person you were.
Okay.
Okay. Now, give me the feeling that brings. What is it? What do you feel when you think about you, the kind of person you were in high school?
Kind of person versus what? Like just the kind. Just how do I feel about the kind of person I was?
Yeah, or just what kind of person were you?
Someone who thinks
Just
they
answer that
know it
question.
all.
Okay,
sure.
you know
Got
it all.
life all
Excellent.
figured out. For me, it was I felt like I was like this rebellious soul who, because you brought up those sweatpants, but you're not wrong to use them, because when I was, so little story behind that. Wendy probably thought I was insane then and still now because she brought it up. But back then, I thought it was cool if I went and bought a pair of blank sweatpants. Okay, think 80s gray, stupid looking sweatpants, and then I took them home, or maybe even did it at school. But I spattered all kinds of colored paint all over it. Just kind of spattered it so it looked like basically micro version of the Wonder Bread bag. Is the best way I can explain
it was those colors.
It was those colors, and I thought that was so edgy and cool, and I wore those to school. I also painted. I bought shoes at Payless and then painted them the colors I wanted, and then I wore those. And it's just like acrylic paint, so it's like chipping off, and it's super stupid. But I just thought that made me wandering around there with my dumb mullet, just like, no one's like me. Look how unique I am. My grades are bad. You know why? Because I don't live by your standards. I'm up here. Well, I did a lot of that thinking.
Sure.
So that's how it feels when it reminds me of that. I think I was kind of a dork and I didn't know it.
Right. Also, do you think not exactly those things, but how do you think of yourself now? As what kind of person are you now? Are you like everybody else?
Oh, that's interesting. I don't know if I have a really good picture of myself these days. I don't think.
Well,
I don't know how to answer that.
My young friend thinks you're 4,000 years old.
Who does? Who thinks
that? From last night.
Who said that?
My young friend just that you're
just
old.
The ones who have to explain memes.
Yeah.
I think of myself as less. I'm less naive now than I used to be. And so I think of myself as a whole. If you stop and said, well, how would you describe yourself? I would say, in a lot of ways, I still love all the things I was into when I was younger, but I'm just less naive about the realities of the world, and maybe even a little too far that way. I'm a little grumpy about it. Yeah. So
grumpy old men, they don't come out of nowhere.
No, they don't. They come out. They come out of real grumpy reasons. Turns out.
Well, okay, and so the reason to have you jump the whole continuum of time is that what the consistency bias would tell us is that how you assume you feel now, or even about how you think you felt now, might be inaccurate, right? And that's tricky because we have such a need to have our self-image be stable, right? This is why we get in so much trouble when self-image is messed with or identity is messed with. The impacts and the symptoms that come from that are pretty big. So here is one of our internal stabilization mechanisms. We have cognitive dissonance. We have all these tools that happen without us even thinking to get us back to consistency. And then we believe that consistency. So for example, this is a psychologist from 1910 said this, kind of this idea that if our self-image gets threatened in any way, we have to quickly affirm that identity somehow, reaffirm it somehow. So it's both needing to be consistent, but of course we all know it changes over time. But we are not great at seeing that within ourselves, right? We can watch someone else and go, oh yeah, I see right? Look at all that change. It's just very different when we're in our own skin doing it. So anyway, this is what William James in 1910 said. For any individual, as many different social selves as there are distinct groups of persons about whose opinion he cares, meaning you are like a little prism, and every new person you turn slightly and present a different version, reflecting back a different version of yourself. And we don't think we're doing that at all. We just think we're being ourselves. Now, sometimes we are aware of that, right? So somebody is in a social situation and they're like, I am fully faking this. And ask them how they feel about that. That's exhausting. It's acting, right? It doesn't feel good. There is a cognitive dissonance experience or a discomfort when it comes to not being yourself, right?
Oh, yeah.
So we're all doing it and fighting it all at once. Okay, so let me tell you this. Well, first of all, any questions before I?
No, I like where we're going.
Fun study.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so Hazel Marcus was a researcher at Stanford University and did this really fun.
Oh, I do have one question. Sorry, one question.
Longitudinal study. Yeah.
One quick question. William James.
Mm-hmm.
Did he ever go? Do you think with just his friends they called him Bill Jimmy ever? Do you think that ever happened?
No.
Anyway, go ahead. Continue. That wasn't an important question. It was just a question, not an important.
Just get it off your chest so it doesn't niggle at the back of your head.
That's right.
Time. Okay.
That's right.
So she published this paper in 1986, again, when Scott was in high school. This is always very important to time the world to Scott's high school.
Yeah, please make me the center pivot point for all things.
Sorry about
Do
that. Okay. Anyway, she published this paper showing how malleable the self actually is and how oblivious we are to the changes that happen. So 1965, starts the research collecting political opinions from a group of high school seniors and their parents.
Okay.
So think 1965.
Long time
and then came back in 1973 and then again in 1982 to see if any of their opinions had changed. Okay. So the questions range from, legalization of drugs to the rights of prisoners to the war. You think of kind of things in the zeitgeist of the moment there, right?
Right.
And as you expect, the younger people's attitudes changed a lot more than their parents did, because young attitudes are more but malleable, right? They can be persuaded. There's new information. They're not stuck.
Right.
And he showed how they would change over time, and like the parents not so much. And then what happened was basically this, what I find is the most interesting question sometimes when in these psychological studies is like, what did you think you said in 1972? Right. And I always laugh, like they have the data, but anyway. So they asked them like, do you think you've changed your mind or, whatever, what do you think you used to believe? And then, so they could measure how much they've changed over time and then their perception. So checking on this consistency bias. Right.
Right.
What we found is that only 30% could recall their old answers.
Oh, weird. 30%'s low. I didn't
It's
expect
really
that.
low.
Yeah.
So 3 of 10 people could remember they were against the war. Like, that's crazy.
Wow. That's such a huge thing.
Right.
That
I mean,
totally
I don't know
makes
if it's
sense to me,
specifically
'cause
that one. But
when Scott was talking about, what he was like in high school, for me, I'm saying, God, I feel like I was pretty much the same person I am now as I was in high school. And I'm
Consistency
sure
bias.
if I were to, totally. I'm
Yeah.
sure if you were to ask me a set of questions, well, how do you feel about the war? How do you feel about this? How do you feel about that?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh, I hate the jocks because they always make fun of me every time I walk by in my members only jacket. But
Yeah. I mean, can you blame them though? Can you blame them?
you can't blame them. I mean, that thing was, God, it was so sweet.
I want
All
to see
those
pictures.
pockets.
Pictures or it didn't
I
happen.
mean, pockets, that's all we've ever wanted. Okay.
I
so
just
hold
want
on.
pockets. Yeah.
So here's this example specifically that they give as, so if somebody believed the death penalty was a legitimate punishment, as an older, decades later, they thought they had always believed this, even when like they had written they were against it as in the first survey, right? So it's those are big. That's not like, do you still like French fries? It's I think of the world in a particular way, or I think this is how justice is given, or whatever those things are. And anyway, so I thought that was a really cool study. And then there's another study that was done by different people later in 1998. And they did the same thing with relationships. And this is so clear to me from a marriage counseling perspective, is that, and I think I've said this before, but when people come in, we have about talk about artificial intelligence at this point. It's so predictable. It's like AI. How a couple answers the question about their initial relationship, how they met and fell in love, and that kind of why they decided to get together. If they have already rewritten that story to being a terrible thing, you can predict divorce with 94% accuracy in the next 7 years.
Oh my gosh, wow.
And that's because they have changed the history to be consistent with the present. But when I see a couple who is saying their eyes twinkle again, and they're like, it was amazing. I can't believe it's gotten so bad. They have a grasp of the good part, because honestly, no one got together because they hated each other 14 years ago. Like, it doesn't make any sense. But that rewriting of the story is incredibly powerful. And so here's some of the stats from this thing. They did a similar thing with recalling these relationships. They had all the answers from the original and then asked them later to come back. And here's what they found. 78% of the women and 87% of the men inaccurately recalled how they used to feel.
Really?
So high.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm shocked by
most
that.
of the people had a good recollection of their original feelings if they were still in a good relationship, right?
Yeah.
But when the consistency bias really alters your memories to make it, like maybe it started out pretty rough actually, and then it's gotten better. And so same thing, consistency bias would change that story too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Okay. So why I mean, this is interesting. I think, of course, it's interesting is because we're all just walking around doing this.
Yeah.
And then what does it mean? And what does it mean to know it? Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So for example, the next time you have an uncomfortable experience and you're of two minds about something, or you're confronted with something and you find that maybe you're suddenly mad at a thing for no reason that doesn't make sense, it might be that your whole mental system is trying to create consistency. And that's why, when we think about persuading someone else to understand where you're coming from, why is this so hard?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a good reason, is people don't see themselves the way you might be seeing them because they don't agree with you, right? They're seeing themselves as a good person, even though what you're saying is, you believe in that? That makes you a terrible person. And the person's like, no, I'm a good person.
Yeah.
And so they're not going to hear that or hear that. So there's a bunch of other studies about trying to persuade people, of course. Some of these are older. I like them because they're older.
Yeah.
I feel like new ones are sometimes they're usually recreating a lot of the same stuff, but this one's from 1972, so it's old.
Sure.
And they asked, this was interesting. They asked about racially segregated busing, right? Because think of 1972. 1965 was when the Civil Rights Act was signed, so we're still in the thick of some of this.
Sure.
Anyway, and then, so what happened was they asked how they felt about it. Then they recorded their answers. And then then had a discussion about the issue, right? And then a few weeks later, an actor came and tried to persuade them one way or the other. So it just depended on how they answered the first set of questions.
Not a famous actor. That's too easy.
Like probably not.
Yeah, right.
Right. That'd be funny, right? Jimmy Stewart shows up and goes,
Jimmy Stewart.
Keep those black kids at the back of the bus, right? He's not going to do that.
Yeah, that's not famous. Just people faking it, right?
Right.
And so, and what they found is if they were anti-integration, then the actor just pointed out the harm that gets caused by being anti-integration. And if they were pro, they'd talk about the downsides, right? Just flip the switch or the script for whoever they were talking about, right? And trying to convince them, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And so, as in the other studies that I talked about, when they were asked their opinions from the original questionnaire, nobody got it right. When they had been swayed, they thought they had always had that same position.
Yeah.
So that means anything any of us have ever learned or changed on, there is this tendency for us to think we haven't changed, that we are consistent this whole time, which is bizarre.
Isn't that it's a survival-y thing, though, where our sense of self, we can't mess with that too much or else we think we're crazy or something, right?
Well, yeah. You start to feel that inconsistency is dangerous, right? Like it has there's a whole inner system that tells you you're not okay. So you either have to, I don't know, take a drug to not feel it, or you have strategies that your brain will do in order to feel okay. So this leads to this other thing of just, you can prime yourself for certain behavior because we already know the consistency bias will naturally want you to be consistent.
Right.
So later studies, MIT, Harvard Business School, they did this like, here's a test. Here's, $10 if you do the thing or whatever, but they primed them very differently. One group had to list the 10 books they read in high school. So they're just like, grapes and wrath. They just wrote the 10 books. And then the other group, and it's an honesty test, by the way. The whole thing was like, if you win the lottery and get money or whatever, but you have to be honest in order to get the money. So anyway, so they prime them with, here's your high school list. And then the other group was primed with writing down the 10 commandments.
Oh, wow.
So they just wrote, do not lie in some form or thinking about that deception, right?
Yeah.
And any guesses what happens if you're primed?
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know either.
Yeah. I don't know.
So what it is, if the consistency bias has to be true, you were just primed to say being honest is important.
Right. And
you're going to be honest.
So you have
so
prompts.
They had the cheating numbers are fascinating. The cheating numbers were, let me see if I can find this. So half were primed for honesty, the other half nothing, right? They weren't primed for anything except to think about their dumb high school books. And so then, oh no, where'd it go? I will find it. But basically it was like 0% of people who were primed for honesty cheated. 0.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then the other was some number that I can't seem to find.
Right.
Anyway, 33% higher than, okay, there we go. Yeah. So the cheaters, 33% of the other group, the high school book group, cheated.
The book group, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
Wow.
crazy.
And then the other ones,
Why
zero.
aren't we doing this like as a rule then in school then?
Yeah.
Let's prime you every time. Well, you can't use the 10 commandments, but you could do things like, I mean, we've all done this kind of naturally, maybe with a kid. We're like, so it's.
Excuse me, what does covet mean?
You're like, so are you, I'm so glad you're such an honest little boy. So do you want to tell me what happened? I mean, think of, that's priming right there.
Yeah.
That's priming.
Right. And I mean, I'm not giving this to have anyone be evil. Okay. So
no, it's both, but it's both negative. And you've talked about labels before on here, and it feels like a bit of that. When your mother says, "Oh, he's my quiet one." Well, what you're doing is you're locking him in that room,
reinforcing.
Yeah.
Right. That's a really good connection because, or the smart kid, right?
Yeah.
Like I recently had a conversation with a client whose kid is clearly very, very bright and needs probably testing and help because it's not going to go well in a regular class. And so, she's like, well, is he a genius? I'm like, we got to stop using that word.
Yeah, that's
right.
Word sucks.
We need to start using the word like he learns quickly. That's it. That's all that's happening. Right.
Exactly.
Because what happens is if a genius can't do a math problem, what do they do with that consistency internally? Right. And this is where a lot of that inner critic stuff can come from too, that there's some beating up that sometimes goes on internally when we are inconsistent. Right. So I see myself as I'm supposed to be a productive member of society. I wasted all day doing a puzzle or playing a video game. I'm a terrible person. Right. Yeah. So sometimes it can show up in those really self-flagellating ways that are also
you're conditioning yourself. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I could see that.
So maybe if we just hack it a little, like, tell our kids to be honest and then they're honest. Yeah, I don't know. It's just fascinating. And I'm watching this play out in a lot of places and think, okay, is it dangerous to know this before you go in a situation, or is it better to know it generally so you can stop and work with the feeling of that bifurcation rather than, I don't know, just kind of blindly going out? Because you can see where the price would have to be paid in relationships, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is interesting. I was just thinking, it's so funny to do this today because yesterday we had both babies over. We had the 4-year-old and we have Phoebe here, and she's 26 weeks old. She's not even half a year, or she's almost there. Anyway, they're here, and I cannot help but notice the differences between when he was her age and her, the way that she looks at you or interacts with other adults. Like, it's just different. Like you'd expect, kids are different. And you feel that feeling of wanting to now put labels and ticks on it all. To go, well, do you think she'll be as energetic as him? did he stare in your eyes as intently as she did? Like small stuff, things they don't even know we're talking about. But I started to hear myself building labels or building categories that I'm now consciously or subconsciously pushing them into. Like, oh, he's the energetic one that, is this and this and this. And then, but Phoebe so far seems like she's got all this together and she's never thrown up yet, but he barfed all the time. What's that mean? Like I'm starting to build this stuff.
He's got it all together.
And I realized, and that's just a tiny little thing, but I realized even then, and now listening to you, what I was doing is what we all do. We start to construct it so it fits our version of whatever we need it to be to best fit our future, to best fit our view of life,
Yeah. Because it turns out I'm old. I might not know what a meme is. I needed someone to remind me.
Right. You're like, what's a meme? What's a meme? You were asking.
Yeah, that's what my mom called them. Memes.
Call them memes?
Yes.
That's
Did you get my meme that I sent?
I did. Now this maybe speaks to part of what you're saying on the other side, but I take pride when some young person, doesn't matter who, will approach me thinking I'm not going to know any of this stuff because I'm an old guy and they see me and they want to, show me something that's very Gen Z centric, internet-y something. And I immediately know what it is. And like this happens with gaming a lot when this kid from Ukraine was here and we were trying to get stuff together to get them Christmas stuff. And they were, barely making it and whatever, these refugees. The son was a hardcore gamer before he left the country. And when I said, so you're a gamer? And he looks at me like, and I could see the look. It was like, oh great. He's going to ask me about do you play the Fortnite, or something? And instead I was like, oh yeah. I start rattling off all this stuff and his mind is blown. And then he's like, wait, Miss Chris, somehow Metzen came up. Chris Metzen? Oh yeah, we did interviews and this and that and had him on stage once. And oh my gosh, this is crazy news. I'm here. It was his voice. But anyway, it was so much fun for me to have a moment where I could like subvert those expectations.
Yeah.
But I have cognitive dissonance about it. Was it a genuine connection that I was making with somebody on common ground? Or is it me going, I'm not as old as you think I am. I'm way cooler than you thought, aren't I? Like that, right? That's probably more what it was.
The perfect example is when this kid's like, do you know what a meme is? I wanted to say, I'm on a podcast. Somehow that's a comeback.
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
Totally.
it's not.
Yeah.
It's stupid. But what you're saying is like, and Scott, you could actually like hang. So that's a little different. But that is consistency with like who I think I am, right? That's really important that sometimes we will distort. I mean, this is a very non-threatening example, right? But we will distort things in order to feel that consistency. Right. And that if we're all running around doing that, then put us in couples and families and school boards together, right? It's an interesting explanation for, obviously it's very one tiny piece and there's no way this is the cause of all the things, but it's kind of fascinating to think through this lens a little bit and just notice myself. So for example, I consider myself somebody who I give money to anybody who is walking by and needs it, right? Like that's who I see myself as, and I don't care what they spend it on or judge it. But I can't tell you, every time my brain goes, should you know about the resources in this community? Maybe you should ask them if I'm also a social worker. So I have to figure out what I'm going to do every time. It's stupid. And it's because that consistency bias requires me to navigate it over and over again because who I see myself as, and in that moment I'm too busy or I'm in a rush, it doesn't work every time. Right.
Well, can you then lean into it and say, here's my question to you: is a positive way, knowing what we know about this, is a positive way of dealing with that is to say, I'm giving him $5 regardless, but now I'm also going to make a note to call later and just see what the local programs are and like get more. You know what I'm saying? Can you do both? Is what I'm saying.
Have a few brochures in your car so you can say, let me help you out, but have you checked this place out?
Yeah, or something.
So my friend
does
these little kits, and we do them every year, and it's a bag. It reminds me of a Kim thing. A baggie with like a granola bar and some money and a bus ticket and information for like local resources.
Sure.
And so you just have them in your car, just hand them out.
Yeah.
And since your cars are like refrigerators in this state for a long time, it's never a problem.
Yeah, you're gonna have raw
You could
meat
be
in
a
there,
slab of
whatever.
beef, it'd be fine.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. Yeah,
Ever
there's
since that movie about the kid poisoning his Uber water came out, now I just hand those bottles out to the people on the streets experiencing homelessness that I pull up to waiting at the left turn lanes. They don't care. They didn't watch Spree. They're going to drink that water. They're fine with it.
Oh, they don't care. None of them saw Spree, and none of them should. Honestly, don't watch Spree. Don't, Wendy. You don't even know what this movie is, but don't watch it.
Oh, and you're horrifying me.
Yeah, it's bad. I'll say this though, like, okay, if you have your car's loaded with little homeless packs, and when you see someone who needs it, you give it to them, and that feels good. It's like, I did a nice thing today, right? Kim's even separated them by female and male ones, so she's got like, feminine product stuff in the one that you know.
That's so great.
And then the other one, she's got, I don't know what man stuff, but it's mostly, granola bars and cologne. I don't know what's in there, but anyway. It's
Old Spice.
Yeah, Old Spice. So she's got these separated like that. She gives them out all day. And the general feeling is we feel better having done that. Like we have done a thing that seemed like it was helpful and it's what we can do. And so that's my question. Do we sometimes do these things because you question yourself, am I doing this because I want people to know I did it? Am I doing it just because I really want to help that person? Like, where's my motivation in all this?
Right.
Yeah.
But also, isn't it sometimes just I need to make a dent and I don't have any other control to make a dent, but here's where I can make a dent. And this is like politics or anything else that's so large and so out of our hands that it feels like, well, what's the point then? And sometimes people feel like, oh, well, I'm motivated to get on social media and bark a bunch of stuff out that causes a bunch of people to yell at each other or whatever, but it's not really doing anything. So I feel like I need to do something. So then you pull back your view and you go, okay, well, I can do something right here. Right now, I can give this guy a bag and it has cool stuff in it. And maybe, just maybe, this will be a thing he'll remember. And one day down the road, he'll look at it or look back and go, oh, that one time they really saved me that week. I really need to clean things up. But
that's a lot of pressure.
But that's what I'm saying. That's the feeling of like, I have no power to do anything to fix a certain thing, but I can do this. But then
be consistent with what you perceive of yourself.
Right.
Like there's somebody else who's passing by and this is not even taking one molecule of their brain power. They're not thinking they have a story already. Well, this person deserves it. The world, you get what you deserve in this world. And that's that. Right. And we could do a whole hour on the bad world syndrome versus, there's a couple of dichotomies and we can test this and see kind of how you score on, like, is the world fair? Is it not fair? Like how you perceive things and your belief about this, how it overall functions has a lot to do with how you then respond. So what I find so interesting is tying that end piece to say you're 40 years old, how you got there is interesting because you're going to be wrong about how you think you got there.
Right.
Like that's what my takeaway here is, like, it's important for us to feel consistent. It's also important for us to maybe learn how to manage our cognitive dissonance in some different ways, like learn to be a little uncomfortable. Let's not take the handing food out to the homeless, but take something else where you're getting feedback, right? That you did not do something consistent. And like, if you can bash that person, and this is where I think sometimes our internet behavior shows that, like, it's just really satisfying to spew venom back at, that's an exact way to handle cognitive dissonance. Is like, I can't actually hear the feedback. It is not consistent with who I am. Like, do you think trolls are walking around like, I'm a troll? And some do, okay? But those are ones that are...
Well, they know they know where their money... You follow the money with those guys. If they're making a lot of money being jerks, you know the answer.
Versus the people who you are like, oh, you're a troll. And they're like, what? I'm like a normal person with an opinion.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay. And that's because we can, again, we're fighting for consistency.
Yeah.
Okay. So thanks for letting me randomly experiment with the concept. But I just thought this was funny. And
yeah, no, it's great. It's good. We still don't know what you were supposed to be reminded about, though, do we?
I don't either. So if anyone re-listens, tell us.
Yeah, somebody
I will find it. Maybe it'll come back to me.
Someone out there will do it. They'll do the work. They'll dig through the file and they'll see it and they'll go, oh.
It was at the beginning, the very beginning.
Yeah, because we were choosing. You said, do you want to talk about mushrooms or you want to talk about blank, right? Or was that the week before?
Yeah. So help me out, anybody. Or send an email. Of a question that's not a Dear Prudence question.
Speaking of which, I'm not going to recommend it on our Recommendals Wednesday thing, but Wendy got me just talking about the whole microdose mushroom thing. I forgot the word, but anyway, these things. I went and watched a Netflix documentary called, what's the name? I wrote it down.
Oh, yeah, you told me.
I can't find it. Something
you told me.
Mysterious mushrooms or something. Part of it, I was worried. I went into it thinking, is it going to be like propaganda for like
Fantastic fungi?
Fantastic fungi. That's it.
Yeah.
It was really interesting. I really got a lot out of it. And what I didn't know is there's a famous dude who is famous for his work in mitochondria and all sorts of mushroom related stuff. And his name is Paul Stamets. And if that name sounds familiar to Star Trek fans, that's the name they gave the mushroom expert on the Discovery.
Nice.
The exact same name. And I didn't know that until I watched this documentary. But anyway, it was really interesting, and I got a lot out of it. And they talked a lot about the stuff you went over last week. So if anyone's interested in checking that out, Netflix has it right now, and it's called Fantastic Funding Guide.
Okay, now I also did have a thing I need to plug real quick. So I sent you a link to put it somewhere, Scott, for me.
Okay.
So, people, it's this time of year. My kid wants to raise money. I'm not doing that ever again. That was terrible. And sorry. Anyway, but I have a new one.
All right.
That really is so cool. So I'm on a board of the Girls on the Run, which if you are not familiar with, go Google it right now. It is the coolest program. It's for 3rd to 5th grade girls. They go in the schools. It's after school program. And these girls train for a 5K, but that's not the whole point. That's like a part of it. But is they learn all these life skills and communication stuff. And it is just fabulous. And it's the age right before their self-esteem drops through the floor, right? It's the age where friendships started getting way more complicated. Anyway, they just do such good work, and all of it's so tested and validated, and it's awesome. And my good friend runs the Girls on the Run here, and so I've joined the board and doing fundraising for them. And I said, what can I have my podcast people help me with? So she showed me how to make my own little link. If you feel the need to help young girls.
Look at you. You got links. You learned what a meme is.
Website. It's terrible. I need a picture, but I can't find one. Anyway, I don't have any pictures of 3 to 5th grade girls. Yeah. Anyway, it's just really cool stuff. And we have this big fundraising luncheon. In fact, Carter has donated art to it. Scott, I need to follow up on what I'm going to have you donate.
Yeah, I can do stuff. Whatever. Well, we should talk about what would be best, but yes, I'm in.
So I just thought it would show up at the auction, at the fundraising luncheon thing. It would be like Therapy Thursdays, friends, donated this amount. And we'll just take a group shot from the chat or something. I don't know. Okay. Anyway, but it's just such a cool program. If any of you have daughters in that age range, I would ask at your schools if they have it. If not, you can get it. I mean, it's all volunteer coaching usually. And the best part is the 5K is like so emotional, watching some of these kids who you would think could never think they could accomplish this thing. And they're surrounded by, they all are paired with an adult volunteer runner, and everyone's got like glitter everywhere and tutus. And it is so fun. It's like this huge party. And these girls run a 5K learning all sorts of amazing skills. And it's just so fun. So if you can give a buck, awesome. If you can volunteer for them in your community, you should do it, because it will make you believe in the world.
Oh, it's so awesome. Good. All right. Once again, it's here it is. girlsontherun.org is where you can find out all about it.
The Minnesota one is obviously specific to the one I'm working with. So it's GOTRMN. But you have the link to the little fundraiser thingy that you
I do. Did you put somewhere? Where did you send that? Did you send it
I send it to your individual Frog Pants
email?
Here. No, Discord.
Oh, why am I not seeing it? That's weird. Oh, there it is. Okay, I got it.
And and there's even look at me.
There's even wow. Next, you're going to create an animated GIF, and we're not going to know what to do with it.
I know, right? Oh my gosh, a QR code. What the frick? This is amazing.
I can't believe how far I've come.
You're like a TGI Fridays during COVID with the menus and stuff. It's amazing. All right.
Thank
Well, this
you.
is fantastic as always, and talking to you is always great. Don't forget Wendy will be in Vegas for a lot of you to see her. Very excited about that. And that's coming up in just a few weeks. A couple weeks, really. 2.5, something like that. It's very close. Wendy, we look forward, though, to having you on next week right here on the show. Until then, have a great time. We'll see you next time.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye now.
See ya.
That was a good one. Although it sounded like she was crumpling up some...
I know, like she wadded up her phone at the end of the call to throw it in the trash.
Yep. Memes, sound effects. Boy, she's an internet wizard these
She's
days.
figured everything out. Yeah.
That's awesome. All right. There she goes. Let's get out of here. Let's get out of here. That's what we're going to do. It's Thursday, so here's what that means. Core at 5 o'clock. Coverville today?
Yeah, no Coverville today. I did it yesterday because I'm going to be working on my brakes today and trying to get out to lift. Yesterday I was like, well, I better not drive because I've got a cracked brake pad, but so I did Coverville yesterday. Here's what's great about it. It's a podcast. You can go and listen to it, and you should, because it's the music of Vangelis. So, yeah, cover of the Blade Runner theme, cover of Chariots of Fire. It's also got Pharrell Williams, so you're probably going to be very happy about that. And the Eels, if you've forgotten about the who the Eels were, Novocaine for the Soul, big MTV hit back in the 90s, and so good.
Is Pharrell Williams he's still doing the hat and stuff, right? That's still his thing?
No, I don't think he is. I found newer pictures of him because I always put a little photo on the thing.
Yeah.
And the newer pictures don't have he's got no hat.
Oh,
no
crazy.
Hat.
All these changes, man. The Weeknd got rid of his weird jawbone implant things. I know that was just that was just for show at the time, but
yeah, okay.
He was trying to make a point or whatever, but do you have any desire? He's got a new show coming out on HBO called
Yes, I can't wait to watch that.
That looks interesting.
I need to watch the was it the Rolling Stones interview with David Letterman? No, it was Bono and Edge with David Letterman. I still need to watch that one. I need to watch the Bruce Springsteen and Howard Stern thing. I mean, I'm so far behind.
You're behind. You got all that Muse now. You got to get some of your old shit back in your brain.
I did put on a playlist of Muse videos because I've never seen any of them. And I was like, oh, these guys make some. They work with some great directors to make some kick-ass videos.
Or the big robot heads or the devil thing, is that a part of their video?
It hasn't come up yet, but I'm sure that it has in some of their newer videos.
Because I miss bands with mascots like Eddie the Beast, and
I agree.
I love that.
That
stuff.
big dude on the cover of Queen's News of the World, that giant robot that's holding a bloody Freddie Mercury.
Yeah, he's got the blood finger. Because he dipped it in his chest or whatever. That stuck with me for most of my childhood. Just the picture of that. I used to think that was so freaky. Yeah, exactly.
I know.
Anyway.
I do want a 3D print. I want to find a 3D print model of that dude with a little bloody Freddie Mercury.
It's got to be
sad robot.
Got to exist,
Somebody's
right?
made it.
Yeah,
somebody's made it.
Somebody, if they haven't, they will now. The cat's out of the bag. I don't know where the dog's out of, but the cat's out of the bag. Well, anyway,
cat's out of the dog.
So yeah, that's already up, so go get it. Tonight, Core at 5 p.m. Lots to talk about there. We just found out what Greg Street's doing after retiring from Riot, and it sounds really, really exciting, so that'll be a part of the discussion. Yeah, it's going to be good.
To hear about it.
I also played a rad game I can't wait to talk about. So if you want to hear all that, that's tonight at 5 p.m. Mountain Time at frogpants.tv. And, of course, afterwards on the podcast. If you would like to join us on Patreon, we would not turn you down. For as low as $1 a month, you can get in at the ground floor and get most of the benefits that come to everybody. But if you want to pay up to other levels, which would never hurt, there's all kinds of benefits you can get from that as well. You'll get art in the mail. You'll get a T level if you're into that. Pre-show content every day. You get commercials, never a commercial, never an ad.
Commercials never.
You'll
hear our theme song.
Yeah, you'll hear our theme song every day that you listen. There will be, what else? Other great monthly benefits. And tomorrow we're doing Couch Party. I don't know what we're watching.
I don't either. We haven't really talked about it.
We'll think of something.
If nothing else, than a Doom Patrol. But
yeah, well, we always have that to fall on.
That's always a fallback. But I'd like to, I'm sure there's some fun new thing that we could check out.
Yeah, we'll mix it up. The problem with Nope is I think we're going to film sack that soon.
I think we're going to film sack Nope, yeah.
Yeah, Nope's going to get sacked. So that's what we have to do. We have to try to pick stuff that's like TV, or if it's a movie, one that we're probably not going to sack, although I don't regret it, but that I really liked that Pedro Pascal thing, the sci-fi movie. What was that called?
That
Prospect.
prospect. I feel like that was better for Couch Party because there was so little dialogue. You would have had an impossible time trying to get good audio clips for it for Film Sack.
Yeah,
It
same
worked
with those.
out really well for us to talk about.
Exactly. I like it. We will always watch movies we like. Like we're watching Creed this week. Creed's great.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
we think
Well, I
there's enough
assume it is.
there.
I've never seen it.
Brian
Can't
is so
wait.
excited.
Yeah.
Although he doesn't get the cool Creed mustache till the third one, which always reminds me that it always makes me think, oh, right, this is Creed when he was growing up. No, this is Creed's son. It's got nothing to do with the original Creed. But this mustache he's got in the new one, throws me, man.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it feels like it's 70s something. I know, it's weird.
And once again, haven't even seen the movie yet, but I think I've already got my idea of what my opening is going to be.
Yeah. I hope it's a Creed song. That's all I hope.
It is not.
Oh, damn.
It is. If I go the direction I'm going right now, it's not even going to be Film Sack karaoke. So it'll be a spoken thing.
Well, then be very ready, everyone, for Film Sack this weekend.
Be ready.
Lots of other stuff going on. Just check out the channels and the notifications and the whatnot, so you'll be informed. Everything else is at frogpants.com/TMS, except for this song that we're about to announce. And then after the show, it'll be there, so you can go find out about it. But right now, Brian's going to introduce it. So, Brian, do that.
And one more thing, Guess the Connection tomorrow morning, an hour before Couch Party. That's going to be its regular time. I've got stuff to give away. I've got Rogue and Wolverine animated X-Men glasses to give away.
Fancy.
Little juice cups, juice glasses for you.
Nice.
So I think that's what's going to be tomorrow. All right, let's get to
in.
this request. Easy, quick, and painless. Ryan from Michigan said, it's a fun cover. Play it whenever you have a free day. Today happens to be a free day, so let's play it. This is 5 O'Clock World by Bowling for Soup. This is from their 2005 album, Bowling for Soup Goes to the Movies. Nothing like it. I don't know why I said it like that, but Bowling for Soup goes to the movies. Anyway, this is, of course, originally done by the Vogues. No, was not originally done by Drew Carey, although you might think so. Here is 5 O'Clock World.
All right, that's going to do it. We'll see the rest of you we don't see this weekend. We'll see you on Monday. Take care. Here's your song.
If you like what you just heard, there's a very good chance you will like all the shows on the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, haven't heard from him in a while.
Ridiculous.
Have we checked in on old